Before I get into this, I just like to point out that I'm referring to this cheap, not this cheap. One of the biggest misconceptions in home design and decor is that I need to spend a lot of money to make my home look nice. And that is not the case at all. To make a bigger impact on the space, think about spending $100 on a high quality item versus spending $100 on 3 average items. And I know it sounds cliche, but quality over quantity, it really makes a big difference. It really is all about how we use what we have, whether it be the actual pieces or the budget we have to purchase those items. And if you think about it, the same concept can be applied to life in general. We all have certain advantages and disadvantages that we can use to play the game and make our lives better. Let's start with purchasing matching sets of furniture. Again, this is not to imply that the monetary value of these sets is what makes the home look cheap. Matching sets of furniture take away all the creativity, personality, and visual excitement of a home. It makes the room appear more showroom-like than an actual home. Some might believe that purchasing in sets is more cost-effective, but the truth can actually be the opposite. It can sometimes be more cost-effective to source pieces separately depending on the design. For example, when designing a bedroom, we can choose the bed from this set, but instead of going with these matching nightstands, we can select these accent tables that will add some contrast and will create a base to add some darker elements into the design. Not only does it create interest in the space, but adds layers to the design, something we can use to build on. Incorrectly scaled design essentials. This could range from having too small of an area rug to incorrectly scaled light fixtures, wall decor, or even window treatments. One can argue that going bigger in these areas increases the budget drastically, and I'm here to say that's actually not correct. A lot of times size is a factor but not the main factor when it comes to pricing these items. Going with a larger yet simpler decor piece in some cases might even be more cost effective than a smaller, fancier counterpart. When given the option to choose between large or fancy, always choose size. The aesthetics of the space can be adjusted using other budget-friendly elements like decor accents. These larger decor essentials act as anchors in the space. So an area rug anchors the furniture in the space, the art or decor anchors the wall, and curtains anchor the windows. Incorrectly scaled or proportioned rooms feel out of balance. To get a better idea, let's break it down. Scale is how an item relates to the size of the room, and proportion is the relationship between these items. Let's start with rugs. In an open floor plan where all of the furniture is away from the walls or in a dining area, try finding a rug that will not only help you separate the space in the open concept, but is large enough to allow all the furniture to sit comfortably on it. If we have furniture aligned with walls, opt for a rug that will allow the front legs to sit comfortably. As a general rule, most living rooms and bedrooms can accommodate rugs that are 8 feet by 10 feet and 9 feet by 12 feet. Scale with lighting. Lighting can play a double role here. Not only having a correctly proportioned and scaled light fixture will make the room feel cohesive, but if you're designing a neutral home, this is where your dominant metal accent can come through. Watch my video on how to choose a color palette for a neutral home where I touch base on mixing metals. For lighting, scale is determined on the size of the furniture the lighting is above, as opposed to the size of the room. For example, when choosing a light fixture for a dining table, as a general rule, the size of the light fixture should be 2/3 of the width of the table. For our 96-inch dining table, we opted for a 70-inch light fixture. When choosing an overhead fixture for an entire room, think bedroom, the ideal diameter is your room's length in feet plus width in feet. So for example, a 12 by 10 room would need a 22 to 24-inch diameter light fixture. Wall decor and curtains. Incorporating small artwork or mirror on an expansive wall will create an obvious imbalance in the space. Incorrectly scaled artwork is probably one of the most common mistakes that instantly cheapen the home. General rule here is to select a piece of art or mirror that will take up at least half to 2/3 of the wall or piece of furniture. For curtains, take the hardware as high as possible on the wall to not only create an illusion of height, but to also frame and anchor the windows. Generic or mass-produced word art, the third way to instantly cheapen your home. Art is sourced in levels and can obviously become really expensive, especially when sourcing large pieces. But art is also one of the most important elements of a well-decorated home and adds a lot of personality to a space. Sourcing expensive artwork is not a necessity. Places like Etsy and Minted make it possible to source original and unique artwork on any budget. Even sourcing simple downloadable prints from Etsy, printing them out at Target or Walgreens, but adding them to a beautiful matted frame will make a huge difference in elevating the wall from basic to designer. Excessive decor or mixing too many metals. I'm grouping these two together because they kind of hit the same note. Clutter. Clutter creates chaos, and a chaotic space will instantly signal cheap. As a minimalist, I choose to keep my decor very understated, in groups, but heavy enough to make its presence known. First off, think quality over quantity here. We can spend $100 buying 3 things that are average or spend $100 buying 1 thing that's of quality. The latter is better because it'll make a stronger impact. In terms of size, again, bigger is better since we're going with less. So think a large decorative bowl or tray, 2 large books, a tall vase. For example, for a rectangular coffee table, my general rule is 2 groups. I love greenery, and on top of that, I love real greenery. But unfortunately, I can't even keep a basil plant alive. So going faux is my only option when it comes to adding some life to my home. Nothing screams cheap like low-quality faux plants. I think the main giveaway here is they look unrealistic and plasticky. Source quality plants that you're likely to enjoy for years rather than months. For mixing metals, I like to mix 2 to 3 metals to avoid creating a busy space. I prefer to keep a bronze or a black as my dominant metal in the space, and using nickel and brass as my warm and cool accents. I hope you enjoyed this content, and if you did, don't forget to hit like and subscribe.